Emmett was thrilled to board first class for his birthday trip, but a woman refused to let him pass. When he calmly responded to her rude challenge, her smug attitude shattered. What began as excitement quickly turned into an unforgettable confrontation. That left her regretting her arrogance. Before we dive into the full story, kindly subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Now let's get started. Emmett gripped his first-class ticket tightly, a symbol of months of sacrifice and hard work. After long days as a music executive, he finally earned this birthday gift to himself, an escape to the sunny Dominican Republic. He could almost taste the warm breeze and feel the ocean waves. Boarding was moments away, and Emmett's heart was light with excitement and pride. Traveling first class wasn't just about luxury, it was about comfort and recognition for his efforts. He hummed softly, tapping his feet as the line moved forward. Life felt good. He had made it. This trip was going to be a fresh start, a well-deserved break from deadlines and stress. Nothing, he thought, could possibly spoil this moment. But fate had other plans, lurking just behind him in the airport queue. The sharp, piercing voice shattered the calm. "Excuse me, move aside." Emmett barely had time to turn before a woman pushed past, eyes locking onto him with cold hostility. She stared him down, her gaze heavy with disdain, as if he were invisible, or worse, unwelcome. The first-class line suddenly felt less like a privilege and more like a battlefield. Emmett's pulse quickened, confusion mixing with unease. What had he done to deserve this? The woman's friends whispered and snickered behind her, clearly sharing the sentiment. The airport buzzed with a sudden tension as other passengers slowed, curious about the confrontation unfolding. Emmett realized this wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It was a test of his patience and dignity, and he had no choice but to respond. "This is the first-class line," the woman said, her voice thick with condescension. "You're in the wrong place." Emmett calmly pulled out his ticket, holding it up like a shield, but the woman's eyes didn't soften. Instead, her sneer deepened. "No, you're not," she insisted, ignoring his proof. Around them, murmurs grew as more travelers noticed the standoff. Emmett's stomach tightened. This wasn't about a ticket anymore, it was about something deeper. Her tone was laced with something ugly, a silent judgment that cut far beyond first-class privileges. Was she questioning his right to be here because of who he was? The realization stung worse than any delayed flight or lost luggage. Emmett's quiet determination began to simmer beneath the surface. The woman muttered loudly to her friends, "Maybe he's military or something." Emmett's jaw tightened at the veiled insult. It wasn't just the line, it was the assumption that he didn't belong here, that his success was a mistake or a lie. The racist undertone was unmistakable and bitter. He fought the urge to snap back immediately, knowing that escalating wouldn't help. Around them, the crowd watched, some sympathetic, others indifferent. Emmett felt isolated but resolved. This wasn't just about a seat, it was about respect and dignity, about being seen as more than a stereotype. He took a deep breath, knowing that whatever happened next would stay with him long after the boarding call. Emmett refused to back down. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," he said firmly, voice steady despite the anger simmering inside. The woman scoffed, "You'll wait like everyone else." His patience thinned. This was no longer a simple misunderstanding, it was a battle over his right to dignity, to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Around them, whispers grew louder, but Emmett stood tall, unwilling to shrink or be erased. The first-class ticket wasn't just a seat, it was a symbol of hard work and self-worth, and he wasn't going to let anyone take that away. The line had turned into a quiet arena of resistance, and Emmett was ready to fight with his words. With unwavering calm, Emmett responded, "No, I'm not military. I'm just a man who earned this seat." The woman's smug expression faltered, surprise flickering across her face. The surrounding crowd gasped, then burst into applause. His words cut through the tension, exposing her bias and entitlement. For a brief moment, Emmett felt a surge of victory, the power of truth echoed by the clapping bystanders. Yet beneath the applause lay a question. Would this change anything? Was one confrontation enough to break the walls of ignorance? Still, the support around him was a reminder that courage, spoken calmly and clearly, could indeed shine light in dark places. By the time Emmett boarded his flight, his story had already gone viral. Hundreds flooded social media with praise. "Theo handled it like a king," one comment read. Yet the applause came with unease. The viral spotlight was uncomfortable, a double-edged sword. Emmett hadn't wanted fame, he wanted peace. Instead, his birthday trip became a public spectacle, with strangers dissecting his every word. The fight against prejudice was far from over, and suddenly, Emmett felt the heavy burden of representing more than just himself. The cheers were sweet, but the reality was complicated, and he wondered if this was truly the victory he'd hoped for. As the plane soared above the clouds, Emmett reflected on the day's events. The viral post drew both praise and harsh criticism. Some doubted its authenticity, others used it to fuel division. Emmett wrestled with his feelings. Had his words healed or hurt? He questioned if he'd escalated tension rather than diffused. The exhaustion weighed on him, but clarity began to form. Standing up to intolerance required more than sharp retorts. It demanded patience, understanding, and a willingness to seek peace over confrontation. His fight wasn't over, but the journey had shifted. Now it was about finding a better way forward. Back on the ground, Emmett posted a heartfelt apology. "No one deserves pain, even those who cause it," he wrote. He admitted wishing he'd handled the situation with more grace and less publicity. The woman hadn't responded, but Emmett felt lighter. Forgiveness, he realized, wasn't weakness, it was strength. The apology sparked important conversations about empathy and healing in a fractured world. Emmett understood that sometimes being the bigger person meant swallowing pride, choosing compassion over conflict. This was the first true step toward change, not with a viral post but with a humble heart. Emmett's birthday ended quietly, but his trip had become a profound lesson. The rude woman hadn't changed, but he had. He vowed to face the world with courage and kindness even when it was hard. Forgiveness was the true first-class experience, far more valuable than any seat on a plane. Sometimes standing up meant stepping back, choosing peace over pride. Emmett knew his fight against intolerance was ongoing, but he would lead with empathy. After all, real strength was not in winning battles, but in building bridges, one small act of grace at a time. And that's how Emmett stood his ground and turned an uncomfortable moment into a powerful statement. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is speak up with dignity and confidence. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and unforgettable tales. See you in the next one.